Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, December the 17th. This will forever go down as Bart Robinson's last city board meeting. The first thing that we are going to do tonight is to adopt the agenda, and I have several changes for y'all. If you would add to your consent agenda at 6E7, travel to Gulf Shores for continuing education, the Twin States Conference for Mark Levy. If you'll add at 18A, Oxford Lafayette Fuller Center for Housing Request for Development Services Fees Waiver. Sorry, that's the theme of my day. And if you'll remove 17 and number 8.
And one more addition at item 6E8, the DUI travel calendar for the 405D grant.
So with those 5 changes, could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Quickly, I will tell you that Holly Jolly Holidays runs through January 5th, and we hope that everyone will go enjoy that out at M Trade Park. We received our sales tax numbers that reflect the month of October. Sales tax was down 2.4% from our September numbers, but it was up 4.3% from last year, and that's really what we look at is comparing the month from the previous year. So sales tax came in for the month of October at $1,352,000. 2% sales tax, also down from the previous month, but 2% food and beverage tax was up 15.9% from the same month last year, and it came in at $527,000. Hotel motel tax was down 10% from the previous month and down 1% from the previous year and came in at $93,000. So with that, I will ask the board to authorize the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on December the 3rd.
Move we approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ask you to authorize the approval of accounts for all city departments.
I move we pay the bills. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ask you to consider the consent agenda with the 3 additions.
Motion to consider consent agenda with the additions.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, next on our agenda is to adopt a retirement resolution for Michael Bart Robinson, our COO. If I can not cough or cry, I'm going to tell you a few of the reasons that we're recognizing Bart tonight. Bart was hired May 26 of 1998. He has served the city as Public Works Director, Assistant City Engineer, and Chief Operating Officer. If you Google his name in the minute books, Bart's name comes up 2,544 times. He's worked with 4 mayors, 23 aldermen, and we think 53 different department heads. Oxford's population when Bart was hired was 11,757. Today it's more than 28,000. Oxford's grown 102% since 2000. In '98, the city limits of Oxford totaled 10.7 square miles. Today, we're at 27.5 square miles. In 1998, the city maintained 83 miles of roads. Today, we maintain more than 170 miles of roads. Bart oversaw 3 huge annexations. He oversaw the purchase and conversion of Bell Utilities, Dooleyville, and Pumpkin Water Association. And he's overseen more projects than I can list for you, but the Oxford Conference Center, the National Guard Readiness Center, Lamar Park, Downtown Parking Garage, Woodlawn Davis Park, Thacker Park, Avent Park, South 18th Basketball Court, M Trade Park, Morgan Family Park, City Hall Pocket Park, Bernie Branch Park, John Leslie Tennis Center, Ulysses Coach Howell Activity Center, Fire Stations 1, 2, 3, and 4, the Oxford Police Department, the Animal Resource Center, the Dog Park, the Outbus Station, and the City Pool. I'll stop, but there are that many more. He's overseen the installation of water tanks at the Industrial Park, Whirlpool, Molly Bar, and Riverside, as well as millions and millions of dollars worth of water wells and sewer projects. When I say his fingerprints are on every inch of Oxford, they are. And as I told him at his retirement party, more importantly, his fingerprints and his impact shows up most in the way that he has mentored and led and guided the employees of the city of Oxford for the past 27 years. That part just can't be measured. And I will say that I've never worked with anyone that I admired more as a coworker or as a friend as Bart Robinson. And I would venture to say that there is no one to this point in time who has had a larger impact on the vision and the growth of this community than Bart Robinson. I've asked Jason to read his resolution, so I'll turn it over to Jason.
All right, thank you, and what an honor it is to read this resolution. Whereas Michael Bart Robinson, Chief Operating Officer, will retire after over 26 years of outstanding service to the city of Oxford and her citizens. And whereas Michael Bart Robinson, a licensed engineer, civil engineer, affectionately called Bart, began his career on May 26, 1998, hired as a civil engineer in the Public Works Department. And whereas Michael Bart Robinson served faithfully for 4 mayors, 23 aldermen, and over 50 department heads throughout his illustrious career. And whereas through his work ethic, technical ability, and his trustworthiness, Michael Bart Robinson gained the confidence of his coworkers, rising quickly to assist the city engineer, then to city engineer, public works director, and eventually to the chief operating officer. And whereas in a leadership capacity for the city of Oxford, Michael Bart Robertson skillfully established policies during the rapid expansion of the city, including 3 annexations, a doubling of the municipality limit, and the population growth of over 102%. And whereas during Oxford's growth, Michael Bart Robertson can be credited with the development and maintaining a safe and robust water and sanitary sewer system, including many miles of new water and sewer lines, new wastewater treatment facilities, water tanks, water wells, lift station, and the acquisition of multiple rural water systems. And whereas Michael Bart Robertson can be credited with the acquisition of the city property and the planning, design, and construction of many miles of new sidewalks, roads, and bridges, and more than 90 miles of new streets. And whereas Oxford's growth resulted in the need for municipal services, Michael Bart Robertson can be credited with the construction of the Oxford Parks, the recreational system, Lamar Park, M-Trade Park, John Leslie Tennis Courts, and the Ulysses Coach Howell Activity Center, as well as Oxford Emergency Management System, the new police station, and all 4 fire stations, in addition to the infrastructure facilities, Oxford Utilities Building, the downtown parking garage, and a host of other expansions and improvements to existing facilities and properties. And whereas Chief Operating Officer Michael Bart Robertson oversaw more than $100 million in construction projects, all the while managing, bonding, and balancing the city annual budget. And whereas Michael Bart Robertson's career accomplishments are truly remarkable and too numerous to recount, they pale in comparison to the impact he has had on those around him. And whereas Michael Bart Robertson, it's a long one, by telling a story of 2, made friends with all, supported and encouraged those around him, and selfishly invested in others. And whereas Michael Bart Robertson, I'm just going to say Bart from now on, during his tenure worked humbly, patiently, especially with Pat, calmly, and whereas quick to listen, serve the mayor, the board of aldermen, city employees, the Oxford citizen, and profound restraint and wisdom. And whereas a mere list of career accomplishments, character traits, accolades are truly inadequate to describe Michael Bart Robertson, his fingerprint on the city of Oxford. And whereas Michael Bart Robertson departs will leave behind a permanent void in the city, and his absence will be keenly felt. And yet the city of Oxford will benefit from Bart's legacy for many years to come. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the board of aldermen of the city of Oxford express their utmost appreciation and gratitude to Michael Bart Robertson for his unmatched career and service to this community. Be it furthermore resolved that a copy of the resolution be spread upon the minutes of the City of Oxford, and that a copy of the same be presented to Michael Bart Robertson.
All right, settle down. Well, what I've got to say won't take nearly that long. You know, I told you the other day at my retirement reception that I was going to talk 8 minutes and 37 seconds, and I won't be that long tonight. But there are a few things that I'd like to say. If you were there, you heard me talk about the other city employees and the way we all work together and the different things that we've accomplished. But I want to say thank you. Thank you to the board. Thank you to the mayor. Thank you to my work family. Thank you to my family. The city leadership is strong, and I think all of you see that. The city has thrived under the dedication of this board and the mayor, the other city leaders in the various departments. The city departments are in a great place, better than they've ever been. There are nearly 900 years of service in the leadership roles in the city departments. Let that sink in. 900 years of problem solving, service, and dedication. Now, I guess I'll say in jest, with me leaving and Willie leaving and Charles leaving and Elaine leaving, you're losing about 160 years. But those remaining are still over 900 years. When I think about the city employees that I've been lucky enough to work with and reflect on my career, there's hundreds of projects. There's every dollar spent. Those that work closely with me, Mark and Ashley, they know how we argue over the dollars, and that matters. And the way we've been able to account for those and fund the city projects has been probably more remarkable than the actual projects if you're sitting in there listening to the way we go through them. But each one of these projects has transformed Oxford. And when I think about what was here when I started, and Jackson Avenue was 2 lanes, and Walmart was in the mall, and we only had 600,000 gallons of water, above ground water storage. Today we've got 5 million. There was a bean field where the current Walmart is. There was no M-Trade Park. There was no GGP or FD Buddy East Parkway. There was no parking garage, and Oxford only had one roundabout, the square. I mean, that was it. You think about that. I mean, Oxford has really transformed, and it's been a pleasure and fun and exciting to be part of it and to see where we are now. Guys, we're lucky to live here. We're lucky to be in a place that is able to make those changes and to keep up with our growth. It's truly a remarkable place. The mayor talks about the secret sauce of Oxford, and you guys, you're it. I'm proud to say, excuse me, I'm proud to say that I was part of that secret sauce, and I'm glad that I helped shape Oxford. Thank you.
So Bart, all of the employees together contributed to a gift that's in the box that Mary has. But our gift to you is something that we couldn't really buy, and I couldn't show it here because neither you or I would be able to stand it. But the people that you've worked with, your current work family, the workforce, previous mayors, previous aldermen, previous department heads who you've meant so much to have all made a video for you, and those are some snapshots from the video. But also in that box Mary has is the jump drive for you to watch the hours of video of people just telling you what you've meant to all of us, and it's hard to even put into words. But we love you, and we're gonna miss you. Thank you. Could I have a motion to adopt the retirement resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Make a motion to not accept it.
Thank you. I know, well, I've never vetoed anything. Can I veto? Can I veto that? That's right. Request permission to submit the FY 25-26 Rural Area 5311 program budget to MDOT for the Oxford University Transit Program. Donna?
That was terrible. Budget's pretty much the same as it's always been. It was a slight increase only because we've had to hire more drivers due to increased ridership, which is always good. So,
Anybody have any questions for Donna?
so move.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the community church to host a Christmas Eve celebration on December 24th from 3:30 to 7. They've done this for the past as many years as I can remember.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Request permission to accept the reverse auction bids received and authorize a purchase agreement for equipment in the Environmental Services Department. Amberlyn?
Yes, ma'am, we had two bids, on the automated side loader, truck came, the winning bid was Sansom Equipment at $465,300.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to advertise for bids for our right-of-way maintenance services for FY 2025.
And on that last item was another piece of equipment for,
Oh,
the
the
transfer station loader.
loader. I'm sorry.
No,
Let's do
that's
that.
okay. It's just so exciting.
Yeah, no, let's do that motion separate. So I'd ask for a motion to adopt the, or to accept the reverse auction bid for the transfer station loader to Thompson Machinery at $274,188.18.
Yes, ma'am.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Now, need your permission to advertise for our right-of-way maintenance.
I move that we advertise.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all, and Mark and I will be working on this the next couple of weeks, and we'll advertise in January, so if y'all want to add any streets, just let us know.
Okay.
Just one thing Mark and I talked about last year, especially some of the concrete areas at your intersections when they're doing their maintenance, make sure
Right.
they're sprayed and picked up. I mean, if you look at some of those, especially intersections where people stop and trash and cigarette butts and weeds.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, request permission to accept the reversed auction bid received and authorize a purchase agreement for equipment in the Building and Grounds Department. Greg?
Yeah, this is for a mulch blower. We had one bid from Vermeer Mid-South, and it came in at $89,500, which is in our budget.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Request approval of the final plat amendment for case 3163, Cathari for 6 West A, Commercial Subdivision Phase 3, for property located at 401 Highway 6 West, being further identified as PPIN 7686. Robert?
All right, so this is the car wash on 6 West. This is the easiest amendment I've ever seen. They're literally just changing the name from Go Shine Express Car Wash Subdivision to 6 West, a commercial subdivision, Phase 3. They've got two parties that they believe to be directly interested, and they have the letter of approval for those. And the case was approved on the consent agenda with 2 conditions, and staff recommends approval with 2 conditions that are in your memo.
Move we approve.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Request approval of a preliminary plat for case 3165, Oxford Commons Lots LLC, David Blackburn, for the Summit Phase 3 for property located at Ed Perry Boulevard, being further identified as PPIN 4712.
All right, subject property is about 20.5 acres, mostly inside of the Oxford Commons PUD. This is south of the previously approved phases of the Summit. It'll be a 2-lot subdivision of about 9.8 and about 7.9 acres. It'll be the 3rd phase of the Summit. This will connect Lakewood Hill Drive to a new road, Summit Drive, that will end up connecting over to Ed Perry. Both of those lots meet the dimensional standards of the underlying zoning, and the PUD will have their own additional standards. Engineering has comments related to access, water and sewer and stormwater management, and the case was approved by the Planning Commission in December with 4 conditions in the staff report, and staff recommends approval with the 4 conditions that are in your memo.
Motion made to approve with conditions.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request approval for preliminary and final plat for case 3167, The Grove at North Lamar, J. Evans for Savannah Square, Oxford, Phase 7, for property located at 1205 Pleasant Drive, being further identified as PPIN 5119.
All right, the subject property is about 2.5 acres at Savannah Square. These are the mixed-use building and the two-story or three-story residential building that is currently being constructed. This is essentially to do one lot for each one of those buildings and then a detention area for stormwater. Engineering has provided comments in the staff report for access and stormwater management, and the case was approved by the Planning Commission in December with 7 conditions that are in the staff report, and staff recommends approval with the 7 conditions in the memo. There is a random 1 condition at the end. Please disregard that. That seems to be a typo.
Motion to approve with conditions.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? We deleted number 17. 18 is a first reading of a proposed ordinance to amend the Land Development Code for case 3172. Ben?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. We're proposing some changes in the Land Development Code, primarily in residential districts for the uses, and this is more of a consistency thing. In some of the districts, they did allow attached unit of, they allowed 4-bedroom units, up to 25% of them, and so we're looking for some consistency across the board in all of those districts to allow that. So that's a change that we are proposing. Additionally, we're proposing some new uses to be allowed in the industrial district through special exception, primarily offices and restaurants that could be proposed there. We've had a few, we don't have that many industrial districts zoned in Oxford, but in a couple areas that we do, we believe that it might be a good idea to at least allow those uses. They'd be complementary to the surrounding areas. We are also proposing just a cleanup thing in the common interest developments for mixed-use developments. Historic Urban Center wasn't listed, even though that's the only way to allow that, so that's just a cleanup item there. In Article 6, if you remember years ago when we adopted the Land Development Code, we were anticipating annexing areas, and a lot of those areas, or some of those areas, had tree farms that were there. So we wanted to be able to facilitate final harvests and things of that nature. But it didn't actually have a date that the tree farm was established, so in theory, you could establish that tree farm right now, and so what we're proposing is the date. We said January 1, 2018, which was the effective date of the new Land Development Code. So you have to be on or before that, and then you can participate in that process. We do also outline the process of documents that are required to be able to do that final harvest. So provide us with a site plan that indicates the buffer areas that are required, a land disturbance permit, the bond. We've now got a little bit of experience with this, so we want to codify that. And then finally, in Article 9, decisions of the Planning Commission for whenever a site plan, a special exception, and variances, whenever those are denied by the Planning Commission, then there's a period of 6 months before the same request can come back before the commission for consideration. The language already exists for variances. It previously existed for special exceptions, but it's not currently in the code, and so we're making sure that it's explicitly stated. So those are the changes that we're proposing.
And this is just a first reading. We'll have a second reading and public hearing at our next Board of Alderman meeting. Do any aldermen have any questions for Ben tonight? Okay, all right, thank you. And then we will go to 18A, which was added, the Oxford Lafayette Fuller Center for Housing Request for Development Services Fees Waiver.
Yeah, so the Oxford Lafayette Fuller Center is a 501c3 nonprofit. They work to provide housing opportunities in communities through partnerships with individuals and community groups. So they volunteer time as part of the build project or the rehab project, and it also families that are the recipient of that home are also required to participate in the build process, and so there's sweat equity that's involved in that process. And we're pleased to have, I believe, our first project for the Oxford Fuller Center in the Oxford city limits. They're planning a spring build in the Brittany Woods neighborhood. So this spring, they're hoping to start construction. The city does have an affordable housing incentive policy, but it's really looking at larger developments. However, we believe that this meets the spirit and the intent of that ordinance, even if it's a single build. So they're before you requesting a waiver of just under $2,000. It's $1,853.02 for this project. That's for the building permit fees, for water and sewer tap fees. And we believe that, again, that this meets the spirit and the intent of that incentive policy.
Absolutely.
So we recommend that.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, and thank y'all for the work that you're doing. Consider adoption of the revised Oxford Historic District Design Guidelines. Kate?
Okay, so I'm here to request that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen would adopt our updated design guidelines. We've updated you guys a few times throughout the past year on this project, and we're very happy with the final outcome and excited that we're finished. The new design guidelines were updated along with the Department of Archives and History, and Integrity Consulting did the work on that project. And we also received public comment from the general public, design professionals in the area, and both of our preservation commissions. So we're very happy with the outcome, and we would request that they be adopted beginning on January 1st so that we can let applicants who are coming through next month know that that's what they'll be evaluated using.
Move we approve.
Second. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Kate, thank you so much for all the work that's gone into that. You've done some great work on it. Thank you. Request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a letter of understanding from Blue Cross Blue Shield to participate in their Healthy Workplace Initiative. Braxton? Holly, sorry. Oh, wait,
Kate has one more.
20.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, false alarm, Holly, false alarm. I checked the one below it. First reading of proposed ordinance amending Chapter 4, Historic Preservation of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Oxford.
Okay, so, no problem. This is just a first reading. We made several changes to the preservation ordinance in association with the changes to the design guidelines.
Yep.
We wanted to separate out the design guidelines from process, and because we believe process should be in the ordinance. The main changes are to section 5427, which is our demolitions section of the guidelines, and I'm going to take you through a few of them, which are the major changes. We further defined what constitutes a demolition. We updated what documentation is required for a demolition in the historic district. We added in a section that the city can determine the need for a structural engineer to be hired by the applicant using a defined scope, which would be decided by the city and is laid out in the ordinance when a demolition is proposed, if it's determined necessary. We defined what unauthorized demolition is and procedures when a building is demolished without approval. We also cleaned up our appeals language. So this ordinance went to both preservation commissions and then also brought it to the ordinance review committee, and that feedback was incorporated. So this is the first reading.
This is a first reading, so at our next meeting, we will have a second reading and a public hearing. Anybody have any questions for Kate? All right, thank you. Sorry I was skipping you. Now, Holly, request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a letter of understanding from Blue Cross Blue Shield to participate in the Healthy Workplace Initiative.
So, Health Place, we are, year to date, we have 28%, 129 out of 465 employees participate in Healthy U, and my goal is 100%. Early detection.
I like the way you're thinking.
Yes, getting early checks and just the basic lab work, I feel like we'll gear that in the right direction.
All right, so we need permission from this board to approve and authorize me to sign the letter of understanding.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Holly. And y'all should know that Holly got accepted into Leadership Mississippi today, which is a really big deal. it's very competitive, and I'm so proud that she's gonna get to be a part of that. It'll be great for all of us, for her to go and do that. Consider a contract for professional services with Eagle Specialties for traffic signal maintenance. John?
Yeah, Mr. Larry Frawner is our traffic signal technician. He works off an annual contract with us to help us maintain all of our traffic signals throughout the town.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider a request from Odin Hardy Construction for overnight work, hours for concrete pour at 14th Acker Loop. We
These
got
are
this on repeat.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this. They don't have to come back with you're in charge from now on. So it doesn't have to come back on the agenda.
On this project, this particular.
This particular project only.
Okay,
We've had no complaints.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
That was your motion?
that's my motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
So your motion was he's the boss.
Yes, he's in charge.
Consider change order number 1, final, for Pumpkin Water Acquisition Booster Pumps Project. Final change order.
Final change order, it increased the project amount by $3,000, but it's operational, we're ready to go. And working, I gotta add.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider change order number 1 for the SR7 Water and Sewer Relocations Project Phase 11B, or is that 2B? I
2B.
don't know. Is that
Yes,
2B? Okay.
It's a decrease in the project amount by $116,400.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider a request for the Mayor and Board of Aldermen to enter into a memorandum of understanding for the SR7 Water Main Relocation Projects, John.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of money that's gonna be left over through the MCWI program. And so this MOU allows the mayor to modify the scope of this particular project to add more scopes. For instance, we're looking at a well project over in the Whirlpool area right now, and we'll be able just to modify the scope of this project through an MOU. Won't have to go through all the NDQ approvals, et cetera, and more money.
Right.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. I would ask the board to consider an executive session.
I move we consider an executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? The board will now consider an executive session.